So welcome to this blab this afternoon with myself, Anna Scheller, the sales queen, and Samantha Kelly, the tweeting goddess. We are so glad you could join us today. We're going to be talking about 3 essential steps to staying focused. I think, Sam, in this world that we live in, so many people get so distracted because I wish I could show you the to-do list. I did a brain dump, and I'm going to talk about that. But I did a brain dump this morning, and I couldn't believe how quickly I filled up that page in just like 15 minutes. All the stuff that I feel is so important to get done. So we're going to be talking about those things. And then I'm going to throw in a couple of bonus tips for people, rewarding people for being on Blab with us. So, is there echoing? Is there echoing?
Is it from me, Karen?
Who's echoing, Karen? It's good. Now you are better. No
Okay,
echo.
no echo.
Okay. So the first, me for a bit. Okay. Well, just let us know in the chat. Okay. So the first thing that you need to do to get focused is to do what I did this morning, is to write everything down that's cluttering your mind. You know, when you have too much going on in front of you, it kind of creates a mind fog, a brain fog. And so what happens is you kind of get paralyzed by too much to do. And I'm sure the people in the chat will agree with me that sometimes when you have too much to do, it seems like you can't figure out anything to do. So you want to write down everything. So what I do is I like the mind map idea where you create a circle, and then the circle has maybe one topic in it. So for me, it would be radio shows. So I'd create a circle, and then the circle goes here, and this is one thing I have to do, and then this is another thing, and blogging, and getting with my virtual assistant, and talking to Sam, and scheduling a blab, and all of these things, and they come around the circle, and then I'll create another circle for yes. Exactly. And then
is that a sun?
something like that. And then there's little circles. Hold that back up, Sam. Hold it, Sam. Put it back up. Okay.
Sorry, this shouldn't be
I put words in mine, Sam. Okay. But
that's
at
my
the end
brain.
of each,
That's my brain.
that's her mind map. She's such a happy person. And then at each of the circles, you want another little circle with a task that you have to get done. And then off of that circle, you might write down everything else that needs to be done for you to get that one task done. So Sam, why don't you give me a project that you're working on? And we'll kind of illustrate it a little bit.
Women's Fire event.
The Women's Inspire event in October, which, by the way, we want to invite everybody to come to. It's going to be amazing. And Sam is organizing it. I'm going to be one of the speakers. So that was a shameless plug. But so what are some of the things that have to happen to get the Women's Inspire event put together? Let's just list 3 things.
Okay, so speakers, the schedule. Then you have to organize the sponsors and the exhibitors. So they're the 3 main, things that involve people and communicating with people.
Okay, and then there's the venue, which you've already got, but you have to find a venue.
That's already done. Yeah.
Yep. So, so what has to be done? Let's say to get the speakers. What do you need to do to get speakers? What feeds into all of that?
Topics. So topics, speakers. So they're all done as well. So you're right. You start with the venue and the date. So you select a date and venue. Okay. Once you have that sorted, then you can go on to speakers, and then you can go on to exhibitors, and then you can go on to creating a link where people can buy the tickets. So you create your early bird tickets and you create your other tickets. So there's lots of things to do. But the main thing is the venue and the date is the first thing. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And then all of these other things, I mean, you can wake up in the morning and go, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. And then, now that's just one thing in your life. So then there's the children, and then there's your your Twitter clients. And for me, there's the housing business, and it's my daughter's birthday. So I had to make sure I took my daughter out for her birthday today. And then I have to get my nails done in order to, I really do have to get my nails done, by the way, but get your nails done in order to go to this event, to go to this conference.
Those things go last. They're always last on my list, funny enough. Isn't that weird?
What's
or is
that?
Just me? The nails and the hair and the tan are last.
Yes, yes. And yet what happens is when they're last, then we get to rushing, and we're, and then it seems like there's everything happening all at once, and then it gets really frustrating. So we're really trying to, Kim says, I never do my nails. She works with horses. But what we want to get to is we want to help you stay focused so that at the end of the day, with all of these things that are going to be on your list, you're going to be able to get something accomplished so that at the end of the day, you can relax a little.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is write everything down. You can do a mind map. You can, if you're a list person, you can make lists. One of the things I find helpful is I like to do things in different colors. So I have one of those multicolor pens. So everything that's on one project is one color. Everything that's another task is another color. These are just little hints.
So what you're saying is not like my calendar. Not like this, everybody.
No.
Not like that.
Not at all. So it's actually, this isn't a to-do list. We call this a brain dump. We're trying to get everything out of our head so that we can think clearly. Because when it's all up here, it starts to interact, and then we're not clear as to what we need to do to move forward. Okay. So then after we've gotten, pardon?
Great, brain dump. Okay, I'm going to write that.
A brain dump. I want to call it a brain dump, because here's the thing. You're not going to do everything that you write down. But you need to get everything, you have to make sure it gets done. Done, not dumped, done. And Sam, I'm going to go ahead and make you a host. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so now you've written down everything. And don't worry if not every single thing is written down, because what will happen as you go through the process, you're going to think of more things. So you still have your paper with everything written on it, and all you got to do is write that. When it comes to mind, stop for a second, write it down. That's all you got to do. It makes it super simple, because simple is what works. Complicated doesn't work. That's why we're trying to get it out of your head and onto paper. Then you might have to step back for about 30 minutes and go, I have to breathe. I have to breathe. And so, because now that everything you wrote down seems super important, that's why it's on your piece of paper. It seems like it has to get done. It seems like I have to do it right now. But if you step away from it, if you're a coffee drinker, go get a cup of coffee. If you are a gardener, go out and water your plants. Do something except look at your list, because the more you look at your list, the harder it's going to be to make the next step work. Then when you've taken a break, and I would say 30 minutes is good. So you may even have to step completely out of the room. But when after you take a break, you come back to the list. Step number 2 is to go through the list and start prioritizing what has to happen today.
Yep. Okay.
Because if you don't, you're going to get overwhelmed. And what's going to happen is if it's not on your list and you don't know that it's the most important thing to do, the next thing that pops into your head is the next thing you're going to do. And that's where especially moms, I think moms, if you've had children, the kids jump in and everybody wants to talk, and everybody's need is like now, they need it now. And we're so used to taking care of everything else and everybody else that at the end of the day we go, well, I didn't get anything done today. And it's because we're used to answering everything that pops in front of us. So by prioritizing what you're going to do, and it may be that the priority has to be, you have to make so many phone calls. And you schedule that. You look at that. Well, we'll get to the scheduling here in a minute. But if that's what you have to do, what you might want to do is, okay, I have to call this person and I have to call this person. Maybe it's 5 phone calls you have to make. Well, you can say, okay, these people I have to contact. So you circle their names, maybe loop them together, or maybe put them on another separate sheet of paper. And then you say, you know I'm going to feel better when those calls are made. And those are the calls, guys, these are the calls that you hate to make. I'm going to tell you to make the calls that you don't want to make, because those are the ones that you keep putting off. And then the next day comes and you're on Facebook. Not that Facebook's bad. I love Facebook, love Twitter. Twitter's like my favorite platform. But the problem is when we're using that to escape what we have to do, then we're really hurting ourselves. We're not, and then at the end of the day, we're frustrated because we know we should have done what we should have done and we didn't get to it. So you want to prioritize those things. You want to say, okay, what has to happen today? So for example, this is going to sound trivial, but today I have to get my nails done because I won't have time tomorrow and I'm going to be on a plane on Wednesday. So today I have to make sure the nails get done. So I actually made an appointment for my nails. So when I make an appointment, I stick to my appointments. I don't, that to me is like I've made a super strong commitment. And then here's the other critical part of this prioritizing. You want to pick 2 things to work on. Make sure. Pick 2 things that you're going to work on for the day that you think, if I don't get anything else done today, I'm going to get these 2 things done. I would say even if they're small things, but they're moving you ahead for the important projects, get those done. Yeah, progress is so important. It helps us to feel good about what we're doing. And that in turn helps us to stay on track. Because if we don't feel good about our progress, then we're more likely to put it off for another day, right? Okay, so the first 2 steps so far are the brain dump and the prioritizing. And in your prioritizing, you want to narrow it down to 2 things that absolutely have to happen today if you're going to see progress in your business. The last thing is find a timer and start working with the timer. Now, there are 2 timing systems that work really, really well, and I'm going to talk about those really quickly. One, and some of you may be familiar with this, it's called the Pomodoro. Do we have any folks in the chat that are familiar with the Pomodoro technique?
Me. Can you put the link in there?
I can find it. It's a really good technique.
Esther can do it. Yeah.
Esther, can you look? Find it. You can go to e.ggtimer.com/Pomodoro. e.ggtimer.com/Pomodoro. And someone uses Groove Otter. I'm not familiar with that, but if it's the Pomodoro technique, it's the absolute same idea. So the Pomodoro technique works this way. You pick one task. Pardon? Pomodoro technique. There we go. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah. Thanks, Barbara.
Good. A real quick and dirty on the Pomodoro technique is that you are going to just work on one thing for 25 minutes. 25 minutes. That's all you're going to do for 25 minutes. And if you're looking at several tasks toward a specific project, what I would do is I would have those tasks listed in the order that they need to be done in a sequence. So within 25 minutes, let's say you finish making those phone calls, or you've had to just leave voicemails, then you can move on to the next task. Then the beauty of the Pomodoro technique, Samantha, is that at the end of the 25 minutes, you take a break. You take a 5-minute break. So it's almost like you're rewarding yourself for doing some focused work. And it's a great technique because you're rewarded for working as you get things done. You can get up. You can do push-ups and sit-ups, which is what I tend to do, because it gets blood to the brain. You can get up and get another cup of coffee. You can play with your dog. You can do something that helps you to get a break from the activity. Then you set the timer so that you do it again. You can choose to stay on the same project, or you could choose to move to a different project. Chances are you might want to stick to the same project for the second 25 minutes because you're likely to be kind of on a roll, and with only a 5-minute break, it's going to be pretty easy to get back to the task and keep moving in that direction. People who are very dedicated to the Pomodoro technique, what they do is they will do 3 Pomodoros with 5-minute breaks in between. And then at the end of the third Pomodoro, which gives you roughly 90 minutes of working on a task or a project, then a 15-minute break. And then you might feel you're going to be ready for a break by then, a longer break. So it's a great tool for productivity. And it's a great tool to make yourself do the unpleasant things you don't want to do for short periods of time. Now, there's a second technique that's called multiple put downs. Multiple put downs. And this one is recommended by the writer of the book Tribal Leadership. And he doesn't mention it in the book, but this is what he uses. And it's a similar concept, but it's slightly different. So the concept is that you set a timer, and you can go to e.ggtimer.com and do it the same way. You set a timer for 20 minutes. And then at the end of 20 minutes, if you're on a roll, you reset the timer for 20 minutes. Once you're done at the end of 2 timers, you take a short break and you come back to it. So what it means is every 20 to 40 minutes, you're putting down the task. So it's really very similar to the Pomodoro technique. It's just a different time sequence. And so far, I haven't been able to find a timer for the multiple put downs. I use both techniques. I think they both work. But that's what I use for productivity. And because there's short periods of time, it's easier to stay focused. And so those are the 3 steps to staying focused. 1 is to do a brain dump. 2 is to prioritize the activities. And 3 is to set a timer, whether you're using the Pomodoro technique or the multiple put downs, to get things done and to just spend focused small chunks of time on specific tasks that are going to move you forward. Now, I promised a couple of bonus ideas. So the first bonus idea is that you want to spend some time getting crystal clear on what's the most important thing you have to get done. So many times we start, let's say, a weight loss program, Sam, because we want to get into that nice dress or that nice suit or whatever it is, or we just want those 6-pack abs. And so what happens is that we try it for a few days, but then when we get hungry or it's getting hard and we're sore from the exercise, we tend to back off because we're not crystal clear on what's really important to us in this activity. Now, I have to confess, I've done multiple diets and I've lost hundreds of pounds. I've also gained hundreds of pounds because I wasn't crystal clear as to what was important in the weight loss program. And getting into a dress, to be honest, I could go and find a nice looking dress down the street at the store that fit me just the way I am. I didn't have to get into a beautiful, I didn't have to wear that particular dress. when I found out that there were some health issues that I had, I got very serious about it because it was crystal clear to me that it was a matter of my health and being around for a long time because people depended on me, and that's important to me. So you need to be clear as to what your target is. And you may even have to put down numbers or pictures or whatever it takes to get you focused on what's important. Because in the martial arts, if people don't know what their target is, they'll miss it every time. Every time. It's one of the most important things in helping people focus. We tell them, look on the spot on the wall, or look at your neighbor's back, or whatever it is you need to do to get your eyes in the right place. You have to know what your target is, and you have to keep your eyes on it. The second bonus idea is take time out for yourself and schedule it for yourself. We get to be very busy people. Very, very busy people. I am sure that everyone in this lab has other things they could be doing other than, or they may even be multitasking. They're listening to us. They're working on social media, or they're doing other things because they're trying to squeeze so much into the same space of time. But what my experience has been is that when I don't make time for myself, that is reading a good book, or spending time with my husband, or spending time with my children, or like I said, I love to garden, going out and messing around in my garden. When I don't spend quality time for myself, I don't have the energy it takes to stay on task for the things that are important to move my business forward. Mm-hmm. So I would be curious, what are the different kinds of ways that people in the chat like to spend time on themselves? What do they do to pamper themselves or take care of themselves? So Sam said walking the dogs.
Now,
who else would like to share?
All together. That sounds like a spa day to me. A day in a spa.
Oh, I love that.
Pampering. But like I haven't done that in years.
Reading, dancing. Coach Karen says reading, dancing, and taking a bath. Oh, yes.
Ooh, a bath.
I love dancing too. Meditation and Reiki. Nothing really, Kim? Time for myself, watching TV, something I rarely do anymore. I have to confess that my treat is watching TV. I've got a series I'm watching on Netflix that, yeah. I'll confess.
Yeah.
You're Game of Thrones. I'm Star Trek. I'm a Trekkie. So I have been for a long time. So when we found a new one.
Well, not now,
what's that?
But when Captain Kirk was younger. Yeah.
Nurse Jackie, reading a book, lounging by the lake. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for joining us. So those are my tips. So really quick, we'll do a very quick recap, and then we'll open up the seat. So the first one is the brain dump. The second one is to prioritize the activities. The third one is to use a timer to stay on track for short periods of time and taking breaks so that you can stay focused on what's important. And then the two bonus ideas were, one, be ultra clear in what's important for you to get done in this particular activity, pretty much in your life too. And then the last thing is to make time for yourself so that you are energized to come back to the task.
Great.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and pause the recording at this time.